is Mitch, and today we're going to be looking at one powerful tool that Excel has, which is called the vertical lookup or the Vlookup. It works similar to the horizontal lookup or what is known as the H lookup, but for today we just want to be focusing on the Vlookup. So the first question maybe should be, why do we need a vertical lookup? This is very helpful, especially when you need to ensure that data is actually validated and entered correctly in contrast to you manually entering one similar data over and over again. So for this instance, you can see that we've got 3 columns on top where we've got the student name, course, and the price. And then on the bottom table, we've got student name, course, and maybe the year completed. Now, if we want to then match the student to the course that they did on this particular column using this particular table, that's where then the Vlookup becomes even more important. So let's just dive in here and see how we're going to do it. Now, just like any other functions in Excel, the Vlookup will also begins with an equal sign. So I'm just going to say equal sign, and then we type the function Vlookup. Remember, you can just double click and then the function is going to get into the formula. Now, the first thing it's going to ask you for is the lookup value. As we are dealing with a set of arguments here, the first one is going to be asking for a lookup value. This is the value that we are going to use on the table that we are in, that we are going to use to match the course on the other table. In other words, you can see that we've got a student name and then we have a student name. So the first student name, where we are actually working on, that becomes our lookup value. So I'm just going to click on the first name. I'm going to click there. That becomes our lookup value. And then, depending on the version that you are using, I'm using Microsoft 365. Then I'm going to use this particular comma. But you can just check on your Office there. It will indicate actually what kind of separation you should use. And then I'm just going to say comma. And it says the table array. In other words, it says this name that I'm trying to look up for. Where am I looking at, from which table, in other words? So now it means we are looking at from this table. So we just go ahead and select the entire table that we're going to be able to match. It's important for you to just include the name of the columns, so that at least the Vlookup can actually be working accurately. Now that's the table array that we're going to be looking for the match for that particular name. And now it says comma, and then we're moving to the column index. Now the column index, what it's actually saying is that from the table that we are working on, or the one that we are actually going to search from, it's got 2 columns. Now the course that we are looking for is in column 1. This becomes our column 1, and then the course that we are looking for is in column 2. And then we're just going to go in and just type 2, and then we're just going to say comma, and then this is where you can make an option whether you want it to be an approximate match with a true, or you want it to be an exact match with a false. When it comes to all this typing, I always advise people to just go for the approximate match, which is a 2, which is a true, and you can just double click on that true, and then we close our bracket. And then if what we have done is correct, actually, the Vlookup function is going to look up for the name Mitch on this table and give us the accurate course that matches that Mitch, which is the human resources. So I'm just going to go ahead and press enter, and then the results should actually be human resources. Let's just see. Bang. That's it. That's human resources. And from there, you don't have to do all of them. You can just autofill it, and then if you autofill, it's going to give you all the answers. Thank you for watching.